Giving a bath to a 90-year-old is very different from giving a bath to a 60-year-old. You need to be a trained person to understand that. The ability for elders to adapt digital interfaces and also link to financial planning.
Are we seeing enough investment in healthcare facilities for seniors, specialized elderly residences, or even trained caregivers? Because that's a very difficult job to do.
So first is obviously healthcare. Geriatrics as a field really has to catch up. We understand pediatrics, but very few people understand that, caring for someone who is a super senior. As an example, giving a bath to a 90-year-old is very different from giving a bath to a 60-year-old. You need to be a trained person to understand that. Cognitive, emotional, everything. So whether it's a physiotherapist, to a nutritionist, to a counselor, to a nurse, to a doctor, everyone should be a specialized trained person in geriatrics. When you're talking about infrastructure, yes, it's a very pertinent point. So one is when you're really referring to the physical infrastructure, and that indeed needs to be geared up. So whether you have wheelchair accessible places, are they elder friendly places, doesn't just end with wheelchair and walker accessibility, but also like whether a person can access these places independently. But I also see this as a mix of infrastructure and human connection. What do we want? We want elders to be independent, right? So that will come when we create awareness, and this is a mixture of creating awareness in services, public services as much. So whether it is the hospital staff, any of the healthcare services we are talking about financial institution, banks. So people in banks should know that if the consumer has cognitive impairment, what the family history is like, and so on. Finally, it is the general public. So if you are standing in a bus stop and you see an elder, that is real infrastructure in my opinion.
Offer them to
yeah. How often do you help them? How often do you recognize that something is wrong? And the last one that I would add also is the ability for elders to adapt digital interfaces and also link to financial planning, everything, whether it's awareness on financial frauds, how do I plan better, how do I access a product, and so on. So for me, these are really the 4 pillars that we need to think about.
Canara HSBC Life Insurance. Promises ka partner.